to the John the Son of Thunder program, rebranded as the EVTN, Eternal Vigano Television Network. We got this idea thanks to Slim Jim Martin, and if Parent Ryan was here, he would bow his head in reverence when you utter the name of Slim Jim Martin. But in order to capture more views and whatnot, and at Slim Jim Martin's suggestion, EWTN has become all about Vigano. So we thought, well, we'll get out there and we'll just change our name to the Eternal Vigano Television Network. Now, you may be wondering, why are we in the Catacombs? And the answer to that is because we have been canceled by the mainstreams. We had our lease in the basement of the parish office building canceled, and so now we are temporarily in the Catacombs, filming from down here, where it's safe, where we don't have to worry about the secret police and the Karens who will detect us.
Well, since this is the EVTN, Ryan, please tell us about the latest update on Archbishop Vigano.
Yes, thank you, John and Brett. This is why you're watching, to get the latest updates on Archbishop Vigano. So, I heard from a source, a very good one, that the Archbishop celebrated the true Mass this morning in his private chapel, ate breakfast. Don't know what he had, but he ate breakfast. Then took a walk through the park. And my source says that he saw 3 squirrels and a cardinal.
A cardinal?
Yes.
Cardinal Menchie?
No, it was not the bird, not like the papal elector.
Oh.
But he saw it anyway. Then he took a nap, and when he woke up, he wrote a letter to LifeSite News, which was translated by Giuseppe Pellegrino. He answered his fan mail. He watched the latest Parent Ryan video. It turns out Vigano is a big fan of Parent Ryan. And he ordered dinner, which was a pepperoni pizza, side of breadsticks, and he had some red wine to go to drink with that. So, turn it back over to you, John. That's the update on Archbishop Vigano.
Will John the Son of Thunder channel merge with EWTN? This is actually fake news. We will not merge with EWTN, as evidenced by the new name of this channel. And actually, this was brought on by church militants joking, I guess, about merging with EWTN. And I think it was the National Catholic Distorter that took it seriously and posted it in an article, and Michael Boris just laughed at them. But to answer any questions, no, we will not be merging with EWTN. We will, however, entertain offers from other networks.
It is time for civil disobedience in the name of fidelity. I didn't say that. Dr. K said that. Dr. Peter Kwasniewski said that. And personally, I wasn't shocked, but I was pleasantly surprised. To me, I think he has finally hit 2021. It is exactly what needs to be talked about, and frankly, in the way it needs to be talked about. As he talked about obedience,
Yes,
he talked
that's
solo
right.
obedience,
Solo obedience,
and it's it's way past time. It's way past time for that to be brought up. And he even talked about Trent and saying, the whole Vatican I and Trent and the papiolatry and the craziness about obedience.
Yeah.
And that obedience is what enabled Vatican II to march us off the cliff.
Mm-hmm. And now the bad guys, the bishops and the government, are using obedience as a weapon, which they've been doing it since Vatican II. But now it's gone to the point where they're saying, you don't even say Mass, don't baptize anybody, don't marry anybody because of the blessed and eternal virus. Tip to Frank Walker.
Absolutely.
But and so Dr. K is saying, enough's enough. We need to just quit listening to these guys, and if necessary, go underground. Join us. It's really not that bad down here. I mean, it's not humid. It's not too cold. It's nice, and we have reasonable accommodations. So don't be afraid to go underground.
I miss the light. I do miss the light.
Well, there's a door.
It doesn't. There's just more tombs back there, so more skeletons. In other news today, you may have noticed that Jeremiah Bannister has I don't know if it's a new program, it's been out I think 2 or 3 months on Holy Faith Media called Paleocrat Diaries. And I recommend that program. I say he is like the Catholic Rush Limbaugh. And with Rush Limbaugh's life kind of approaching its end, maybe consider switching over to Paleocrat Diaries. Jeremiah Bannister was recently on Meaning of Catholic a couple times with Timothy Flanders and Kennedy Hall. And he's really, I don't even want to say red-pilled, black-pilled on the political situation. And I agree with so many of his points. And he's very entertaining, too. And so consider giving that channel, giving his show a watch.
We talk about the virus church here, and we have an example, an actual virus church. It's Salisbury Cathedral in England. Do tell us.
So, Salisbury Cathedral, whatever you call it, it was actually stolen from the Roman Catholics by the heretic Anglicans, and they have canceled all their services, understandably, because most of England I think all of England is pretty much canceled.
I think so.
But they've opened it up as a vaccination center. So you can't attend a church service there, but you can get your vaccine. A true virus church.
Amen. And a woman.
They don't even have, so they're not giving away the pretend sacraments, but
Right.
but the sacrament that they're giving away now is the vaccine, the shot, the jab. That's the sacramental is the mask, and the sacrament is the jab.
It's their new confirmation.
Yeah, it is. It's like confirmation.
And you don't have to attend any classes or go to any virtual retreats or
Virtual
anything.
retreats. You're living in the retreat. You've been retreating for a year now in this lockdown.
And it's ladies' night every night at the Catholic Church. Pope Francis has written the word, the motu proprio, and now, ladies on the altar. Yes, sir.
Should I say this joke? That it's probably not the kind of ladies that you want to look at? I mean, these aren't young girls. These are like kind of blue-haired, overweight, elderly women. But anyway, Pope Francis is now, we're going to have lectorettes and acolytes, I guess they're called, according to canon law. But, we had a discussion about this via email, if this is going to change anything, what's the impact going to be. And my opinion is more or less nothing will happen. I'm not, because in most dioceses, bishops have said that these ministries are reserved for men who are in formation for the priesthood. I'm not so sure. I think that they're not going to change that. I think that in Germany, they're going to give these women these ministries and dress them up. But I think that they're already dressed up in Germany. Who knows what can happen. But the thing about this is, there's so much going on in the world that I see this and I'm like, oh, it's Francis and he's doing something to the Novus Ordo. I don't care anymore. It's like, just turn him off. Nobody pays any attention to him anyway, except unless you're, I don't know. Occasionally he says something Catholic and you want to listen to it, but that's like once or twice a year. I don't know what to say about this.
Well, I think, and I'm not in super disagreement with you. I think that the particularly liberal bishops will take an opportunity to make a big deal about it.
I agree.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So we'll see how that impacts everything else. But Brett, you had a different opinion than Ryan.
Well, I would say that what it takes is a bishop who hates the Latin Mass. And we have plenty of them here in America. So what that's going to mean is, if you're thinking, particularly like a communist, what you do is you get your Novus Ordo priest who hates the Latin Mass, and you make him learn the Latin Mass, and you make him have a Latin Mass in the cathedral, and you make him have female lectors and female acolytes, and there you are. And then you start putting pressure on those in your diocese who say the Latin Mass, but don't have female acolytes and lectors. Oh yes, and is it going to happen tomorrow? Obviously not. But is it going to happen Oh, yes, communists never, ever, ever give up.
In other news, Taylor Marshall, has he become a set of a contest after Pope Francis made Lady Lectorettes and Lady Acolytes? He hasn't done a show in 6 days now. Where is he, John?
I don't know. We haven't been following him like we have been following Vigano.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to put a special assignment on Taylor Marshall at this point, because he's only been posting Bible verses on Twitter, and it seems like he's disconnected from reality.
And we know that he was deeply involved with the Trump campaign, and I don't know, maybe this is a joke, but is it possible that he's in a bunker somewhere? Does he have inside information that World War III is going to break out, that Trump's going to declare martial law? Yeah, martial law.
Oh, that's it. That's why he needs him there. Yeah, it's great. Trump is in a bunker with Taylor Marshall and the My Pillow guy. the Republic is safe.
And actually, their bunker is not very far from here. I think if you go out that door and
take a left.
Yeah, take a left, then you'll encounter the Trump, Marshall, My Pillow guy bunker.
Well, there's about 20 doors in the way and a bunch of locks, so we'd never get through. But that's beside the point.
Maybe Taylor Marshall is just in deep depression because, of course, he was an Anglican. And he saw how female ordination came through and destroyed what was left of that church. And maybe he just sees the writing on the wall. And is,
well, that's why I said maybe he's turned instead of a contest, because, I don't know, you can see that the mainstream church is basically, I don't know if it's 100% corrupted, but it's definitely 99% corrupted, and I don't know how far between 99 and 100 it is corrupted. The question is that last percent. What is left of the remnant in the mainstream church?
Well, let's hope let's hope there are 10 good men.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with your point, Brett, we would have at least seen a video from Taylor Marshall, which makes this situation very suspicious. So we haven't even seen a video about the women acolytes and the women lectorettes from Taylor Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, which I thought he would have done first thing, like the next day. I was waiting for
as soon as it happened.
So somebody, before we came down to the catacombs, somebody hypothesized, speculated that perhaps Taylor Marshall is doing the Exodus 90. Now, I don't think that's the case, because his job is social media and making YouTubes. So I don't think he would just go radio silent for 90 days. He's got a business to run, basically,
and a family to support,
just like we do. I mean, even if we were going to do Exodus 90, we would still be here bringing you this high quality content, these shows, because we do what the viewers want. You are important to us, and we have the best viewers. We have the best viewers. Believe me, they're the best.
I actually do spend a lot of time editing these videos.
More news today from Rome. The question has been raised. Is Pope Francis a secret Catholic?
Absolutely.
He does not wear a mask, and he said that women can never be ordained to the diaconate or priesthood or episcopacy. Brett, what do you say?
I think he is well on the way to joining the one holy Catholic and Apostolic. He is centralizing the authority that has been diffused from the last popes, and no one questions that Francis is in charge. Well, actually, a lot of people question if Francis is in charge because it might be Xi Jinping or George Soros
or Benedict XVI.
I don't know. No, that's. Well, that's why we have two popes. We have that backup pope. We have the backup pope. And you did see, of course, that both Benedict and Francis received the jab, both off camera, of course. I believe that Benedict got the real thing, and if he survives, then maybe Francis will get the real thing too. Just idle supposition.
Coming up in later segments of the Eternal Vigano television network, Nightly News, we will have a roundtable discussion on the Capitol riots. Were they patriots? BLMs? Does it even matter? A discussion after that, Donald Trump, loser, liar, or lunatic. We will have an in-depth commentary on EWTN, its history, foundation, future. Where does it sit in the sphere of Catholic media, including YouTube, internet sites, etc.? Will the Sunday obligation return? We'll have a lot of interesting opinions about that, and I'm sure that you will too. In other news, Twitter cancels everybody, and Uganda cancels Twitter. John.
So the State Department of Uganda posted a tweet a few days ago that said the president warns that if the social media channels like Facebook and Twitter are not being friendly and equitable to some of the Ugandans, then there is no reason as to why we should have them operate here. And they stayed true to their word and canceled Facebook and Twitter. And it just so happened that the conservative president, up for re-election, ended up winning the election. So congratulations to him, and good job for canceling these corrupt social media networks.
Meanwhile, in other parts of Africa,
Tanzania is at a place to avoid the coming storm. There are no mask mandates, and the president said the virus is a hoax by Western colonial powers. He actually, I believe, submitted test samples for a goat and a pawpaw, which is a fruit, and both came back COVID positive. And so he decided that at least the virus testing was extremely flawed, and so he doesn't care, and he doesn't enforce any virus restrictions. Sounds like a nice place. Was Father Z canceled? Over to you, Ryan.
Thanks, John. Father Z recently posted a post on his blog and said new changes, big changes are coming up in his life. He's going to be leaving the Diocese of Madison and perhaps refocusing his internet ministry. Now, the thing that I found interesting, and we briefly discussed this over email, is I said that this has happened, I think, at least twice before. It might have been in 2008 or 9. There was a fiasco where the New York Times was after him and trying to dig up dirt on him. And now all of a sudden you have, and that was the New York Times. It's like, why are they interested in Father Z? Because all he does is do bird watching and he cooks pasta. And the stuff that he writes, I mean, maybe in 2007 he was considered cutting-edge traditionalist. But me, I kind of see him as, no offense, but I see him as kind of a grandpa or a kind of a weak traditionalist who's okay being right in the center of traditionalism, whereas we and the people that we know, like Dr. Kwasniewski, are pushing the envelope and pushing back on Francis and the diocesan bishops and the mainstream church. And so I'm like, why are they after Father Z? And again, like I said, this periodically happens. And the only thing I can come up with is Father Z is doing exorcisms against the fallen angels, and specifically he was doing it for the purposes of stopping demonic influence in the election, in stealing the election, etc., having to do with that election. And I think that the Biden bots found out about this, and of course, you have the Francis clergy, like the people who write for what's the name of that website? Is it Where
Peter
Is, which I call Where Pachamama Is, and they are out to get him for some reason, I don't know what. What you can see is the left, the bad guys, have this. It's this insatiable lust to go after anybody in the mainstream church who is opposing them. And I compared it to, if you read the book of Genesis, you have the Sodomites who. They were after those three angels who went into Lot's house, and Lot was like, "No, you don't want these guys. Here, take my daughters. Just don't sodomize these three guys." And they were like just foaming, and they were like, "We must have these men." And that's what it's almost like the Where Pachamama Is, and the Libs and the Francis Church must conquer everybody who's in the mainstream church. I mean, they're going to cancel. They will in some way try to cancel Father Z. Father Altman has he been canceled? Not really sure. Father Heilman, his days are numbered.
Well, he's in Madison as well.
He is.
Yes.
His days are numbered.
Yep.
Father Mark Goring kind of was canceled before.
He was before, and he's
Sorta.
kind of struggling to thread the needle.
Yeah, I like where he's at right now. He's totally against the jab and the lockdowns, and I think he knows how to navigate these waters without getting his battleship sunk, so to speak. Again, Father Z, I don't know what he did, but see, Father Z's in a strange predicament. Father Z does not belongs to some strange Italian diocese.
Yep.
I don't know who his bishop is, what is his assignment. I mean, I remember a few years ago when New York Times was after him, he revealed the goods on what his situation is. And at that time, he was ostensibly working on a doctoral dissertation. And he was renting a farmhouse in Wisconsin, I believe, and doing his bird watching and helping out with the Latin Mass and on Sundays and cooking pasta and taking pictures of it. But now I think he's in the same boat. So I don't know what the guy should do. I mean, obviously he's got to find another diocese because they had Morlino, but then he died.
Right.
And now they have a guy who is just another Francis bishop. And he's feeling the pressure that comes from the Slim Jim Martins and whatnot. And here's another question. Why is it okay for Slim Jim Martin? Who even knows what diocese he belongs to? And what is he supposed to be doing? He's constantly in the New York Times. Him and Father Thomas Reese are constantly in the New York Times. But there's nobody who is out to get Slim Jim Martin or Father Thomas Reese. But Father Zulsdorf, who's over there bird watching and just happens to do an exorcism every day and has been against the election steal, now they're out for blood. It's like, if you really believe in what you're saying, which we know the left, the libs, the bad guys don't believe anything. They just, words come out of their mouth, and they sometimes convince weak-minded people to go along with their charade, especially bishops. And the bishops just seek the path of least resistance. A bishop is like running water. It always goes downhill. It seeks the place of equilibrium where it's not going to be, the waves dissipate and a bishop is happy. Like over there in that sump pump, there's a collection of water over there. That's the bishops. They're down in that sump hole. But anyway, so that's
the Holy Spirit is the pump, is what you're saying.
Yes. And the Holy Spirit needs to pump these guys up, get them out of the basement. So that's the update on Father Z. The March for Life seems to have been canceled. They say it will happen virtually. Brett, do you have an update?
No, I don't. I've heard the same thing everyone else has heard. The really big news about the March for Life is Nellie Gray has passed away and has gone to her reward, her judgment, and hopefully her reward. Since then, I can't remember her name, but she's committed to making it bigger, which means we're going to have it on a 3-day weekend and not on the actual day that commemorates the horrible ruling. We're going to bring in all the Protestants and all the pagans and all the atheists and, like I say, have it on a 3-day weekend so we can have really big numbers. And what's the really big number this year? Oh, 0. I guess she's going to go out there and march around with her and the people she knows and likes, and the important people. It's going to be the important people. The other people, the hoi polloi, they can stay home and march and march
in their bedrooms, their living rooms.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, that's the witness that we want to give. And of course, we can't have us applying to Congress. No, we're bad. We can't go talk to Congress.
Our opinions apparently don't matter anymore. Yeah. They're too dangerous. That's why they built a wall out front of the Capitol building to keep the American people away from it. And see, I thought they told us that walls don't work. And then they built this huge wall.
So they work now. Yes.
don't know what to say about it.
Well,
Now there are opposing viewpoints about this. Father Stephen Imbarrato said that this is just more evidence of the corruption of the corporate pro-life movement. There have been many college pro-life groups who have denounced this decision on Twitter. Now I know that it is going to be difficult to get down there with buses and whatnot, but it should be.
It's going to be impossible.
Yeah, it should be everybody's option. If you're able to go, then go down there. And John, I believe you had said there was some talk about having protests or marches at state capitals.
Yeah, state capitals. Actually, on the March for Life website, they do have several states that are having March for Life events in their states, and it might actually be better for numbers for people to go, drive closer to their homes. The state capital is generally not very far away for a lot of people. So go on the March for Life website, look up the state capital protests or the March for Life, and maybe you want to get involved in one of those if your state has one.